Yo, so people, I took a look at Eenie Meanie. Yeah, no, that's another film. Eenie Meanie, right? And this is the new film from Shawn Simonson. I feel that I said that correctly. Yeah, Shawn Simonson. He wrote and he directed. It is produced by Marty P. Ewing, Reese, and Paul Wernick. Executive produced by Elizabeth Niles. Associate produced by Jennifer Lane. And Milos Milchevich co-produces. Bobby Krillick took care of the music. Tim Ives is on cinematography. Right, editing duties are from Chris Patterson and Dirk Westervelt. Right, Avi Kaufman handled the casting. Production design, we have CC DeStefano, Scott Cubb, and Giza Cassia were art direction. Set decoration is Lisa Alcofer, with costume design from Jennifer Starzik. Hair and makeup, we have Dresden Barras, Chris Burgoyne, Rocky Faulkner, Tonya Johnson, Lydia Kane, Erin Labrie, Maynard Matthews, Rhonda O'Neill, Deb Pollock, Molly Munan Sanders, Alan Tusk, Anna Williams, and Corey Robinson. Okay, so yes, they took care of that. We have got stunts. Some of the stunts were from Nicholas Bosk, Joey Box, Joe Buccaro III, Richard Burden, Keith Campbell, Clay Cullen, Peter Epstein, Brent Fletcher, Jeremy Fry, Jacqueline Lee Gertz, Sarah Holden, Logan Holiday, Jermaine Holt, Crystal Hooks, Paul Jennings, Michael B. Johnson, Lauren Mary Kim, Tony Lazara, Brad McCabe, Simon Ree, T.C. Ross, Karina Roshia, Mark Suzak, Brett Sims, Greg Schmidj, Sebastian Sodanas, Tom Smothers, Mark Turin, Ernie Vigil, Stephanie Vuvu, and Gino Woolard. So that means our cast, right? We have got Samara Weaving as Edie, aka Eenie Meanie, right? A younger version of Edie is played by Ellie Graham. Her dad is played by Steve Zahn. Her mum is... Boy, I had it. Who plays her mum? Her mum is played by Chelsea Crisp. That's it. Right, so we then have got her ex-boyfriend, John, played by Karl Glusman. There's Nico, played by Andy Garcia. George, played by Mike O'Malley. We have Leo, played by Randall Park. Perm Walters, played by Marshawn Lynch. We have got Gary, played by Chris Bauer. The Chaperone, played by Jermaine Fowler. We got Edie's friend, just known as Baby Girl, played by Kiana Simone. Who else do we have? There is Gloria, Perm's girlfriend, played by Fong Kabaki. Cole, played by Rob Grant. Kenny, played by Davis Aguilera. Stilts, played by John Elliott. Deanna, played by Sarah Alana. Yeah, that's probably our main group, right? The gist is a reformed teenage getaway driver is dragged back into her unsavory past when a former employer offers her a chance to save the life of her chronically unreliable ex-boyfriend. So yeah, that in a nutshell is the film. I don't mind a good heist movie, right? They can be fun. I mean, one of my favorites has to be Lucky Number 11, right? The Thomas Crown Affair is very good. There was this one film. It begins with C. It's just one word. Gosh. Yeah, I cannot remember what it's called, but I thought that was very enjoyable. That's not very helpful. I realise that. Anyway, right? A good heist film is very good. Eenie Meanie. It feels very convoluted. It feels very like we have some good moments and some okay moments, right? Where the acting works and, the cinematography is nice and all of that. But there's just a lot of things happen. Like we start off with the film with a young Edie going to pick up her parents who are both drunk and drugged out. And she's driving them home. Her mum's got coke, so then, she has to speed off from the police, right? So then we cut to her and her best friend, right? And, everything, life isn't great, but they're getting by, she's working a job. She, doesn't love, but she's working a job, right? There's a bank stick up. She gets injured, finds something out. And so you have all of this going on and you're just like, oh, okay, right? Is this, but it's nothing, right? It doesn't go anywhere. Any of the beginning part of the film doesn't really affect anything that's happening here, other than a conversation with her and her best friend about her ex. But the minute it's just like, stay away from him. Yeah, I'm not going to. She's gonna. Right? So she goes to visit the ex. And the thing is, right, when she walks into his crib, there's women's underwear on the floor. Now, as far as we're aware, he just lives alone. Right? But there's women's clothes in the joint, all of that. And he's getting messed up. She helps him. And then we get into this whole thing with Nico, right? And it's like the reason, because it's like she's pulled back into a past she left behind. You're scratching your head at why? Why is she back? There's not really a good reason for it. That's the big thing here. The reasoning for anything that goes down in this film is very flimsy. Like, very flimsy. There's a point where this declaration is made. And you're just going, okay, you're saying these words, but the act actions do not back any of that shit up, right? And surely that is something that gets said earlier. You feel me? That's something that gets said earlier, right? We see, like, this whole declaration, but like earlier in the film, someone nearly dies, right? We see someone hiding. We see them, encouraging someone to do bullshit, right? But then it's just like, oh, this is all about change and improving and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, wait, that makes no sense from what we have seen. And not just at one point, but all the way up to that moment, right? And so you're going, surely, right, you can have this scene, but you would just need the other person to act, completely different to the way they do, right? Because you're scratching your head, because you're just like, well, I don't think this character's meant to be an idiot. Right? They're meant to have made some bad choices, but they're not meant to be stupid. Yeah, it's baffling. It's a baffling scene that makes absolutely no sense. We have a bit when someone drags someone out of a car after like a horrendous crash. And you're just like, okay, the way this car lands and all of that, chances are this person has got spinal damage, right? You're not just pulling someone out of a car like that. What are we doing? No broken bones, right? The only thing that happens is some scratches and whatnot. It's just like, okay. Okay, we're believing that, are we? Interesting. Right? There's just these other parts of the film that have a lot of contradicting things. Like we see these reunions and again, these speeches that you're just like, I mean, surely this gets said differently at a different time. Like there's other things that are done. This is very bizarre, right? Very bizarre. It's just a weird film, right? We're leading up to this heist thing, but before that point, we get drag races. We get all of this stuff, and you're just like, I mean, is this shit needed for us to get to this next place? Like, why are we doing all of this other stuff? You know what I mean? Like, it's, again, right? We have this thing about, an ex-worker and the potential for something else. And you're just like, okay, if that is the case, you think there's other ways to handle this, to ensure a thing, right? No, that like it doesn't come up, and you're just scratching your head. You're just like, oh, okay, right? It's this is a problem, right? There's this idea, and it's just like, okay, so how can we add to this idea? Oh, let's put this in here. Let's put that in here. Let's put that in here. Or what other generic tropes could we add? It is even the ending and the lead up to the ending. It is all a bit baffling. It's all a bit bad. Not that you're confused of what's actually going on, but it's just the manner in which it plays out. You're just like, in what world does any of this make sense? You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing here? And that's the thing. Right now, I think when you look, because this is Simonson's directorial debut, his feature directorial debut. But looking at it, he is a producer, executive producer on The Continental, which does really speak to what Eenie Meanie is, because Eenie Meanie, convoluted. The Continental, and if you don't, The Continental was a TV spin-off from the John Wick universe, looking at Winston and oh my gosh, I forget Lance's character's name in the film, but it's their kind of backstory, and you're just like it was very convoluted, right? So it kind of lines up, right? And it is one of those things that I would probably say, if you enjoyed The Continental, you might like Eenie Meanie. You know what I mean? It does feel like it's one of them things, you know? Like, you know, there was that film on Netflix with Pierce Brosnan as the dad. It was like this comedy thing. Oh, and I cannot remember the name of it. It began with R, I believe. But it's one of those type of films, right? Like Good Luck Charlie. Just Eenie Meanie is one of them. If you enjoyed those films, then maybe you'll like Eenie Meanie. Again, it's not the worst thing you'll ever see, right? It feels like it wants to be a Baby Driver type of thing. And Baby Driver was fine. It wasn't incredible, but it's you know what I mean? It's leaps and bounds better than Eenie Meanie. It had a better flow to it. But yeah, Eenie. It's funny because this week we looked at Caught Stealing, and Eenie Meanie and Caught Stealing feel very similar in a way, you know? So I think if you like either, you'll like the other, right? If you like The Continental, Good Luck Charlie, you know, just that vein of film. I think Eenie Meanie will work for you. You can see why it was straight to streaming. Like, this did not, like, yeah, this would not go in the cinema. Like, this is just not that, right? So, yeah. Just my take on Eenie Meanie. There is some solid, you know, there's some solid scenes and things like that. It's just a very uneven film. You know what I mean? But yeah, Eenie Meanie.